Video is going to be about or concerning the claim of parallel light rays. Now, that we are supposed to receive from the sun while we are supposed to be on a globe Earth. Now, I've dealt with this in the past in different ways. I'll link a couple of videos in the description. One of the videos, one I made some while back, was about shadows and the way shadows must behave if the heliocentric claims were correct. And another video I made concerning solar eclipses and what would have to happen if what the heliocentric paradigm claim, well, it doesn't claim anything, but those who promote it claim what they claim. So I'll link those two videos in the description. I would recommend that you watch them if you're interested in the topic, to give you a fuller understanding of why this claim of us receiving parallel light rays from the sun is complete and utter rubbish. Now, to begin this, I must go through a small little bit of detail. This all begins with the Eratosthenes story. Eratosthenes measured an elevation angle between Alexandria and Siam. Eratosthenes then, within that story, it's claimed that he had to make the claim, or it's stated that he had to make the claim that for the shadows that, like the one he used, right, of the obelisk, to get the angle for his elevation angle, for that to happen on a globe Earth, he stated that supposedly that, whether it existed or not, that the sun would have to be very big and then obviously far away to match its angular size in the sky, and we would have to be receiving almost parallel light from the sun. It's not claimed within their paradigm that the light from their sun is parallel. It's that the proximity of the globe Earth to their sun, which is like what's shown here, right, means that by the time the sun's light hits the globe Earth within that paradigm, the light has not diverged. So the globe Earth receives what they describe as parallel light rays. Now, light rays don't exist, right? There's no such thing as light rays. That's just nonsense made up by probably heliocentric idiots. Light is not a ray, and it's not a wave. It's particle, or it has particle-like behavior. It's not. It's not a wave or a ray. This is nonsense. But they describe it for the heliocentric paradigm. They describe it as parallel light rays, right? They say there's a tiny bit of divergence, but mathematically they need them. They need those rays to be, those mathematical rays need to be parallel. They, like that little bit of divergence they claim, that's only them trying to cover their tracks, right? Mathematically they require absolute parallel claimed light rays that don't exist. Long story short, Eratosthenes said if the sun is big and far away and we receive almost parallel light, then the shadows we see in reality can work on a globe. That means the Earth can be a globe and these shadows exist. Now that one, as you will see if you look at my video, my last couple of videos or my videos that I link in the description, I destroy all that, because that only works in a two-dimensional singular situation. It doesn't work in reality. So, but the whole claim within the Eratosthenes story is that if the sun is big and far away, then the shadows we see in reality can, in a singular two-dimensional situation, work. Right? That's about the size of it. But if the sun is not big and is more local, if it's smaller and more local, then the Earth is flat. Now, the reason that is placed into the story is because Eratosthenes measured 500 miles with an elevation angle. So the Earth has to be flat for that to happen. he couldn't have done what he did. He needed to use the GP, which is of the sun at that time, which is the well in Cyan. So there's no way for the well in Cyan to be directly vertically below the sun, and for it all to line up with the right angle triangle he used. It's not going to work. None of that is going to work if the well is not vertically below the sun. If the well is back in behind the sun on the surface of a globe, it's all going to fall apart. Doesn't work. Long story short, like I keep saying, the whole parallel light rays nonsense, which gave birth to the globe, basically, it's the linchpin of the globe, that is all dependent on certain things, like the sun being very big and far away, blah blah blah. Anyway, that's just some basics. I didn't want to go through the whole story with diagrams and different things, the Earth in the story, because that would take a lot longer. The video, I don't want the video to be any longer than it's going to be, and it's already probably going to be longer than I want it to be. Now, here is the analemma, right? The solar analemma, globe analemma, right? Here is what is supposed to be the globe Earth going around the sun, and as you can see, the sun is bigger in diameter than the globe Earth. But I'm going to show you the actual mathematical size differences in a minute. So the whole point here is that one side of the globe, right, within this claim, is always lit up completely. And you can see there's this line here, this terminator line, right, where one side is light, one side is dark. Same here, one side is light, one side is dark. So it doesn't matter which in proximity to their sun, it doesn't matter what way their tilt is at the time, half of their globe gets light. Now, all of that globe is getting light, right, on this side and on this side. So just we'll take note of that. Note of that. Now, here is a diagram that was made up, and they have the planets or whatever of their solar system, and they have their sun. And this here, this little blue dot here, is claimed to be the globe Earth. So there is the sun, there is the globe Earth. Now I think the sun is like over 800, and it's the sun within their paradigm. I have to keep on prefacing that, giving that caveat. Within their paradigm, it's over 860,000 miles in diameter, I think, right? So if we just, 1 second, right? So let's just say we go, right, 800, right? 806, sorry, right, 860000, 860,000 miles, right? And we divide that by 2 equals, right? Now we divide this, right, because that would be the radius of the sun. We divide this by 3959, right? Right, equals 108, right, 0.61. Let's say almost 109. Now, it's more than 860, I think, the actual full claim. I meant to Google it earlier, but I forgot it. But it doesn't matter, because the point is that it's monstrous. The claim is that their sun is monstrous in relation to their globe. So, basically, 108, 109 times the size of their globe. Right, so you can see here how this sun, the diameter of it, is huge in comparison to this little blue dot. Right, massive in comparison to the blue dot. So you can understand that there's no way that within that paradigm that this can't happen. This can't be the case, where all one side of their globe has to be completely lit up. That means all one side of the Earth, half of the Earth, has to be lit, completely lit, at all times, right? Within their claim, at all times, once 50% of the Earth, regardless of the time of year, 50% of the Earth must be lit at all times. Because it doesn't matter the distances, whether it's their perihelion or aphelion, that makes no difference, because the difference in distance here doesn't change with the type of light they're saying is hitting the globe. So at all times, 50% of the globe has to be lit, right? Here you can see some kind of a supposed representation of it, right? But even if that's not 100% accurate, the point is it's not far off, because this little blue dot here is going to be whatever the globe Earth is in size in comparison to their sun. They're going to always have the globe Earth lit 50%. That's why this is all part of the mathematics that they throw at people. This is all part of that. They're covering for everything. But it means, as I said, 50% of their globe, or as they're claiming, the Earth is lit at all times, right? Now, just want to show you something. Here are some photographs. Now, I did my best to make sure they were photographs. Some of them, make sure they're not CGI or something. But it doesn't matter, because CGI will just be copying what actual photographs are anyway. So it makes no difference. If you just keep a look at these, right? If I just go through them, right, you can see it's the sun and the light on the water. Okay? There we go again. I'll go back to that one in a while for a reason. So this is they all show the same thing, right? Let's just go back up to the top. When I said CGI, I meant to say AI, sorry. AI generated. So what can you see here in all of these? What's the main takeaway? That the sun here, whatever spot it's over, its concentrated light is shown right here, right? It's shown right over, right on the water here. The most concentration of the sun's light is right there. And this is all lit here, but this is also daylight, which I don't know. A lot of people actually do say that daylight and sunlight not the same. Daylight tends to happen before the sun is there. I don't know the full ins and outs of it. I'm no daylight expert, but what I would say is I do notice something I have personally noticed, and I only noticed it this morning, is that when the daylight comes, it gets colder than it was in the nighttime. Well, as soon as the daylight comes, it gets colder than it was in the nighttime. Then the sun turns up and it heats up. So I don't know if I'm not claiming the daylight and sunlight are different, but there is some funny things there. But just to continue this, the point I'm making here is that you can see there's an obvious area on the water here that there is a high concentration of sunlight hitting, and and it's kind of heading towards where the camera is. You can see there's like a line or whatever, right? Same here, right? There's an obvious path of light from the sun, right? This one the same, right? And as I said, it doesn't matter if they're AI generated. I don't think they are, but if they're AI generated, they're only copying what happens in reality anyway. But I don't think any of them are. Same here. Actually, I just want to zoom in on this slightly. As you can see that little area here, we can see it's like the sun here. That's the start of what's known as the sun mirage, right? That I've spoken about before. This thing about the sun goes behind the horizon, it's nonsense. That's officially the sun mirage that you see at the horizon. So as you can see, the sun mirage is forming here. So the sun never actually appears to touch the water at all. The sun mirage forms and gives the impression that that's happening. But either way, what I'm pointing out here is at this present time, this is the hot spot area, let's just say, where the mirage is forming. This is the point just below the sun or whatever, or it appears to be. And you can see this light trailing off here. We go down again, same again, same again, same again, same again, same again. So what is the one common denominator? What is the problem here? I think it's pretty obvious what the problem is here. Now, this is not a new argument so much. These type of things have been pointed out in the past. I remember these been pointed out 10 years ago, right? But it's how you deliver it is the thing, right? I just and it couldn't be any more obvious that the problem is that if I just come down here a sec, if half of the Earth is supposed to be if we're supposed to be on a globe and half of the Earth, that's 50% at all times, is supposed to be totally lit because of this massive diameter difference between the globe Earth and its heliocentric sun, right? Then how is this not everywhere? How come right, all of the water and everything you see doesn't have on the water? How come all of the water doesn't have this reflection? How come it's only right there where you see the sun? Because the diameter of the sun, remember, is claimed to be, we're claimed to be on a globe Earth, and this sun is claimed to be as monstrous star in comparison to us. So there's no way that could not, this light here on the water, there's no way that could be just right there. Like there's a couple of boats, there's no way that could be right there. It would have to cover all of the horizon, right? It would have to cover all of the water. Everything would have to be, there'd have to be a reflection off of the water from the sun. Once there's no clouds in the way, like here, there'd have to be a reflection of the water, of the sun, of all of the water. Anywhere there's daylight, there's had to be a constant reflection of every part of the water. But there isn't. There's reflections out here, right, as you can see, but the main reflection is right over where the sun is. But if the sun's diameter is much huger than the diameter of the Earth, right, then there's, right, and because of that, I mean, its proximity to us, we're supposed to get parallel light rays that don't exist. Then, right, which what they're basically saying, we're getting parallel light, right? When the light is not after diverging enough for it to be called divergent light, by the time it hits us. Then how is this possible? It's not, right? There's reality just showing, the reality is debunking heliocentrism again. That's not possible. You can't have that. That cannot happen. This is logically impossible, right? There you are, more of it. So this is the problem. We're expected to accept a heap of nonsense as our reality when it's patently and obviously not true. Like this one thing alone, just this alone, if you're somebody who accepts the truth of what is, this one thing alone ends heliocentrism. Just that alone. You don't need any more than that. You don't even need measurements. You don't need anything. That ends it. Because heliocentrism can only happen with a sun that's really big and at the center. It can't work in any other way. Right? So this on its face alone, and this and the globe requires, I won't go into all the details now, but the globe cannot be geocentric. It can only be heliocentric. People who think there's a geocentric globe model, what a joke. People who think that there is such a thing obviously do not understand the globe. I won't go into the details of that now, but the point being is that there can't be a geocentric globe. There can only be a heliocentric globe. And heliocentrism requires the sun to be much huger in diameter than the globe Earth. So if we were on a globe Earth and this was our heliocentric sun, then this reflection has to be everywhere we're looking at here. It can't just be right there. It has to be right across the bay here. Constant. Everywhere has to be like this. See this concentration of light here? Everywhere has to be like that. But it's not. Because we're not living on a globe. We don't live in a heliocentric paradigm. Or solar system as part of some heliocentric extended universe. None of that exists. If it did, the least that should happen is all of this should be lit up like this hotspot here. But it's not. None of this is real. None of it is real. This is real. There's a smaller and local sun. What size it is, I don't really know. How close it is, I don't know. But I know, as you can see here, the light from it is showing to be divergent. Right? And this is proving it here. And for some extra proof, now I understand there's going to be refraction involved, right? But here is light rays coming through water hitting the seabed or the bed of a lake or river. As you can see, they're diverging. right? Here is more of it, right? I know refraction will cause a change, right, a divergent change. I understand that. But this is like, I can show, there was a load more images and photos I could have got, but this means that it's all coming back to a source, and it is diverging, and it's diverging more. Let's say this is where the concentrated part is. As you come out here, there's more divergence happening than there is here. There you go. This is some kind of a cave or something, and as you can see, there's a concentration of strong light, and then there's a greater divergence away from that. There you are again. We don't live on a globe, Earth. We're not living as part of a solar system. There is no heliocentric extended universe. The Earth is flat, it's stationary, it's enclosed, and it's a self-automated dynamic system. If you fully understand what is there to be understood, there is no other option. End of story. So I don't think I need to say any more on that, because it's patently obvious what the truth is. Thanks for watching.